there's like a just a fog over my mind, and my energy levels have plummeted, and it just sucks. But other than that, other than the medication thing, I think the carnivore diet's doing me good. Yes, it can kill me. You're right. That's why I'm advocating for the world not to end, or for the country not to collapse, because I would like to live. Like, if there's a zombie apocalypse or something like that, I wouldn't last too long, because not having a thyroid, I asked my doctor, I was like, how long could I hypothetically live if I stopped taking or like if medication wasn't available? And she said, well, she's like, you could live forever. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? She's like, as long as you don't get any cuts or get sick or anything like that, and your immune system plummets. So like, once basically everything in your body just slowly starts shutting down, and you virtually go into a coma, but you'll get so weak that you'll get a sickness and then die. So it would not be a pleasant way to go.
It's an autoimmune response, right? So it's like Hashimoto's or anything, but probably on steroids. Michelle, my wife has got, she has to take Synthroid because her thyroid doesn't function either. She didn't have her.
It's a really common problem to have thyroid issues, and the thyroid in your body does a lot of things. It controls your heart rate, cognitive function. They say that if you get your thyroid removed and you're on the thyroid medication, that one of the side effects is short-term memory loss. So I like to use that excuse sometimes.
Huh?
One of the side effects is short-term memory loss. So it's hard to get things. It's hard to remember things. Oh my gosh, you're playing with me. So I'm excited. I got my medication now, so I'm excited for these next couple of days to start feeling really good again, because I was just getting to the point in the carnivore diet. Dude. I'm trying to do that, but they're very. Yeah, I will. I'm trying to plan that, because I have a decent amount of prep at the house for like, a couple of my family, but that's one thing that I don't have is like extra thyroid medication. So
I can tell you how to do that.
Do what? Get thyroid medication?
Yep. I can tell you how you can get you're talking about, so that you have a supply far beyond going to your doctor every month and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can show you how to do that. It's not a problem.
Cool.
It's easy.
Cool.
As long as you're not dealing with a Schedule 2 medication, it's not very hard at all.
No.
But no. You were saying something earlier when we were talking on the phone, and one of those rabbit hole conversations is pretty cool. We were talking about like how a lot of stuff happens on the, like, everyone saw The Simpsons, how they predicted like future events, and on X-Files, I was telling Maurice about the episode of X-Files.
We should show him that clip before we.
I'll grab it while you're talking about it. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, so I shared a clip today from the X-Files, and it was very spot on. And I guess this character in the X-Files was based on Alex Jones. So they were like, I think in the episode they wanted to make him seem like he was kind of like a wild conspiracy theorist. I'm not really sure what was going on, but his rant was insane, and it blew me away. I was like, holy crap, we might be living in a simulation some kind, or it might have been all planned.
Yeah, see, that's my take on it. If everyone saw the episode of The Simpsons with Trump coming down the escalator and the guy standing on the side dropping the sign, is it more likely that there's a time traveler and he works for The Simpsons, or is it more likely that the deep state and the people in our government are controlling things more than what you'd like to admit? And the easiest answer, Occam's razor, right? Like Ben Davis has said, Occam's razor. The easiest answer is probably the most likely, which is there are people inside of our government that control everything down to the level of being able to recreate a scene that was on The Simpsons, created 15 plus years earlier, that played out 15 plus years later, and made it look like they went back in time or there's something more, esoteric or whatever crazy going on than what actually is. It's just that your intelligence department and those people in it actually control more than what you'd like to admit. I have it if you want me to play it.
Because, it's on the screen.
Yeah, but does it have a sound this way?
I don't know. Does it?
Your own government lies.
I play.
As a matter of course.
Can you hear it?
Policy.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Experiments on black men. And
Okay. So listen to this clip. Chat. Tribe of Patriots. This so out of the 84,000 followers, it's been seen like 4,000 times. I don't know by how many followers, but I thought this was really crazy, and so I want to show you guys this clip. Get ready.
Your own government lies as a matter of course, as a matter of policy. The Tuskegee experiments on black men in the 30s, Henrietta Lacks.
What are they trying to do?
That's the missing piece.
But it's not hard to imagine a government hiding, hoarding alien technology for 70 years at the expense of human life and the future of the planet. Driven not only by corporate greed, but a darker objective.
The takeover of America.
And then the world itself, by any means necessary, however violent, or cruel, or efficient. By severe drought, brought on by weather wars, conducted secretly using aerial contaminants and high-altitude electromagnetic waves. In a state of perpetual war, to create problem, reaction, solution scenarios to distract, enrage, and enslave American citizens at home. With tools like the Patriot Act and the National Defense Authorization Act, which abridge the Constitution in the name of national security. The militarization of police forces in cities across the U.S., the building of prison camps by the Federal Emergency Management Agency with no stated purpose, the corporate takeover of food and agriculture, pharmaceuticals and healthcare, even the military in clandestine agendas to fatten, dull, sicken, and control a populace already consumed by consumerism.
And I encourage you all to go shopping more.
A government that taps your phone, collects your data, and monitors your whereabouts with impunity. A government preparing to use that data against you when it strikes. And the final takeover begins.
The takeover of America.
By a well-oiled and well-armed multinational group of elites that will cull, kill, and subjugate.
Happening as we sit here.
It's happening all around us.
The other shoe waiting to drop.
It'll probably start on a Friday. The banks will announce a...
That's pretty much it. He goes into like how it's going to happen, but I guess we could just finish it. There's only like
security action necessitating their computers to go offline all weekend.
Digital money will disappear.
They can just steal your money?
Followed by the detonation of strategic electromagnetic pulse bombs to knock out major grids.
What will seem like an attack on America by terrorists or Russia.
Or a simulated alien invasion using alien replica vehicles that exist and are already in use.
An alien invasion of the U.S.
The Russians tried it in 1947.
How about that, guys? Isn't that just a little on the nose for what's going on today? It's kind of... I think the X-Files came out... I mean, this was a 90s show, right? This came out a long time ago. I don't know how long it was playing. Or on air, rather. But yeah, they kind of explain... I mean, very, very probable... very, very probable things that were going on. What do you guys think?
I think he's spot on. I think he nailed HARP. I think that he not only did he nail HARP, he nailed it with the Patriot Act. He talked about the NDAA. These are all things that actually took place. Like every damn thing that he said. And now you're watching the overthrow of the United States. You're watching a Muslim uprising disguising itself as a pro-Palestinian movement, egged on by Obama, who started it. And it's nuts. We're in the late stages of it. Look, guys, I honest to God think that I don't know what, but something is going to happen prior to the election. I don't know what, but I know it gets even worse than this. It starts on the college campuses. and then it takes off across the United States in the streets, just like it did in the 60s. But there are a lot more people now, and a lot bigger guns, and a lot more problems. And don't forget how many people are in the country that are on the terror watch list.
That's one of my main concerns right there, is the fact that they haven't vetted a substantial portion of the millions of people that have come into this country.
New York just came out and said that they had foreign actors inside of their protests. They had people that were connected to terror groups that didn't even go to the college, that were using those demonstrations to their own ends. Not that I, like the mayor of New York, but I mean, a broken clock can be right twice a day. And he had no problem saying that they've connected one of the people there. It was the wife of a known terrorist, and then he kind of stifled himself and didn't want to say any more as far as being very specific as to what terror groups and who and that sort of thing. But listen, Obama went to speak to his old buddy William Ayers of the Weatherman Underground about 6.5 to 7 hours before William Ayers went to Chicago University and started his own anti-Israeli protest and rhetoric after speaking to Obama. So there's that too. We're
definitely going to face some serious problems. Thanks, gorgeous.
Engineered too. This is not by accident. Believe me, this is the United States. We can turn an entire country.
I know it's hot.
Into a parking lot tomorrow if we wanted to. Anyone we wanted to. Do you really think that they would allow anti-American protests to go on in any college campus across the United States that was really anti-government, that really could take over their cities and offset the balance of power and hurt a whole bunch of people if they didn't want it to happen? It would be over right now. If they wanted those protests over right now, they would be over right now.
Yeah. The only thing about this T-Rexes, I like that name.
T-Rexes.
Is that, I mean, 4 million is a lot, but there's no way to the amount of infrastructure it takes to actually run an army is substantial. And so but these 4 million military age males, they can definitely sow chaos. And Brad here says that they're wanting to let in Gazans.
Joe's talking about flying him over. He was going to do it covertly, and he got busted by somebody in his own circle.
Good. But yeah, they wanted to bring those guys over, and it's like, there's a lot of people that are kind of using that as a boogeyman, and it's like, there's a lot worse people than the Gazans. I mean, I know that those people say, death to America and all this stuff, but there's plenty of other countries around the world that are our enemy that have been shuffling people into our country for sure. They've taken advantage of the open border, and they've slid in their sleeper cells or intel guys, whatever the heck it may be. They've already put them in the country, so they're here. So I mean, I know that would be a bad, like, Israel Palestine's a hot topic right now, but it's like, God, like, I don't see them as any different than any other refugee that we've been letting in for the last 4 years.
Let's talk about AOC and the squad members. They're all members of the Democratic Socialists of America. You cannot be a socialist in America, in the United States, and not be a seditionist, because the only way you can actually implement socialism is to overthrow the current system. You have to be a seditionist to be a socialist. You can't just implement socialist policies and not throw the free market in the trash. So there goes the property, your free market. There goes property rights. There goes all of those things that are ingrained in our Constitution. They have to be shredded in order to implement a socialist government and a socialist policy. You have to write a new constitution. Your freedom, the way it works, the way you run business, all of that becomes top down, ran by the government, in a true fascist way, right? Which is what DEI is, right? That's what DEI is.
Well, think about this. China and the Chinese Communist, the CCP, they have government actors in every company. they're required to have like a not a branch, but like an office of the CCP, so that they can monitor exactly what goes on in the company.
Yeah.
Well, what's the DEI office? It's the same bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're implementing an ideological bend on everything, and they're being put into every company so that they can monitor everything and put in the right people that they want to put in. And it doesn't mean that the colored people are the wrong people, right? I mean that they're going to choose the people that are ideologically bent towards the left and who believe in this woke bullshit, in this indoctrination, so that the companies are all going to end up skewing that way because they already have the CCP or the DEI officers in there regulating everybody and everything, and all the conservatives stay silent, and because otherwise you're going to get fired. I mean, I'm to the point where like we have a DEI class at my work, and I changed tires, and they have a DEI class, and I told my boss, I was like, I'm not taking that class. Y'all can fuck off with that. And they're like, no, you have to. And I was, no, I'm not doing it. And they're like, but you have to. I was like, okay, tell your boss I'm not doing it. And if they have a problem with it, then have them talk to me. I don't really care. I'm not taking that stupid class. There's zero chance that I'm going to listen to that garbage because I believe that it's poison.
But everybody knows changing truck tires is racist, dude. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, they're all black.
There ain't no white tires, man. Got rid of the white walls, man. It's ridiculous. I remember when they tried to say that Drew Barrymore, she did a show, right, where she was like singing in the rain, literally singing in the rain. And it went over social media that singing in the rain was racist. Pete Buttigieg said that highways were racist, like literally said highways were racist. And in the weirdo in Montana said that crash test dummies were racist, or no, excuse me, misogynist, because they were all males. And so they start making female crash test dummies to fix the inequity in traffic accidents, fatalities, or whatever.
Now, to some extent, that actually has some logic behind it because women are smaller, generally speaking. They're smaller midgets. Yeah, but midgets don't drive. Well, I guess they do drive cars.
Yeah, they do. There's males built. Look, most of our Antifa people are built like small women.
Yeah, because that's true.
Yeah, because they're all vegans or something, I think. I'm not sure. Ooh, somebody went on a type and rant.
That's Luna. That's anti-Luna. So what if our native sovereign tribes invite the people of Gaza onto our lands? If they would come, which most will not, I do not know what tribe either one of you are from, but I am sure you need to gain some knowledge from your elder of it. Disappointed with both your nephews on the stance on Palestine and calling these people terrorists. Well,
can I get this one? Can I get this one, please? So listen, Palestine, first of all, has never been and never will be its own country because they decided not to do that. They've been offered statehood 7 times. From the time it was called Canaan before the Israelites conquered the land, it never was called Palestine. To this day, has never been called Palestine. When the Roman emperor that was there wanted to change the name from Judea, he called it Syria de Palestina. And then it went on to become the Ottoman Empire and was conquered later by the Brits. And then it changed hands back to the Israelis that you see right now today. So even in their own Quran that they're stating that they believe in what Jesus said, he also called it Israel. So when you're saying that you're looking at these people as if they're one people, and they're not. They have several different tribes, the tribe of Hamas, the tribe of this, that, and the other thing, and they all war with each other. So it's not like they're just the Palestinian people. Most of them are Syrian nomads. They are not one people. They are not one faction. They're not one ethnicity. So that also needs to be understood.
Hold up, everybody, chill. All right, I'll just make this really simple. Okay. Some of them are terrorists and I didn't say all of them. but I said I view them the same as any hostile nation that has been coming across the border for the last 4 years. Because
here it is. Here it is, right here. Watch.
70,
Watch this. Watch the video. It says everything. Watch.
All over the world, people are demonstrating to give the land of Israel back to the Palestinian people. Let's look at the history of the land. From 1948 until today, not a Palestinian state. From 1917 to 1948, not a Palestinian state. From 1516 to 1917, not a Palestinian state. From 1260 to 1516, not a Palestinian state. From 1187 to 1260, not a Palestinian state. From 1099 to 1187, not a Palestinian state. From 638 to 1099, not a Palestinian state. From 324 to 638, not a Palestinian state. From 63 BCE to 324, not a Palestinian state. From 167 BCE to 63, not a Palestinian state. From 322 BCE to 167 BCE, not a Palestinian state. From 586 BCE to 322 BCE, not a Palestinian state. From 1004 BCE to 586 BCE, not a Palestinian state. From 1200 BCE to 1004 BCE, not a Palestinian state. From 3600 BCE to 1200 BCE, not a Palestinian state. From 5800 BCE to 3600 BCE, not a Palestinian state. Fiction can be compelling, inspiring, even emotional, but it's still fiction. Don't.
That's it. It has never existed.
Should we? The problem that I have with this too is, like, should we also take in all the Christians from South Africa who are being persecuted right now onto the sovereign lands?
No, because they're white.
I mean, there's a lot of black Christians down there too,
yeah,
around that area as well.
The ones that are hit by the apartheid, right? So this is the and most of these people that say these things are on the left, and they are fighting for what they call reproductive rights. Did you know that they're illegal in Gaza? What about a free speech illegal in Gaza? What about homosexuality illegal in Gaza? Well,
yeah,
most of the
Luna,
things that
I have a question, Luna. Would you be willing to accept Sharia? Do they have Sharia law there?
Yes.
In Gaza?
Yes.
So would you be willing to accept implementation of Sharia law on our sovereign Native American lands? If they started implementing that, if you took in a substantial majority, or an equivalent number to whoever's in your tribe, or a tenth of it even, and they became a substantial voting bloc on the sovereign land, would you accept implementing Sharia law or versions of it that would restrict you on your own reservation?
That's not the question, though. Would you accept Sharia law is the question.
I think there's a slight delay. So, but yeah, it's accept either wing of the occupier's government. Our tribes have our own.
And even in the native tribes that are here in the United States, that exist within the United States borders right now, they warred with each other. And my tribe that my people came from, the Susquehannock, they were damn near extinct because they were killed by other tribes and forced from Kentucky to Maryland to Pennsylvania. What land? Answer this: what land that exists in the world today, in the whole world, at any point in time, was not occupied by somebody else prior to the people that are there today? Give me just one example, and I'll drop the whole subject.
Well, also to that point, there are some tribes right now that are taking in cartel members and working with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not good. You don't want to work with the cartels, but it seems that Native Americans and tribal leaders are accepting this as a viable option to bring in. I mean, just look at all the missing Native American women. You think the cartels have nothing to do with that? If they're working with them? I don't know. I don't trust these people because their values that they were raised on are so drastically different. And there's a certain amount of immigration that your country can handle, right? But if you have two completely separate worldviews and there's no way to have a proper assimilation and integration into the country. And it's like,
it's militant, dude. It's plain
well,
and simple.
Well,
It's
if the argument, if the argument is that Native Americans were genocided, right, and that
which they were.
The white man came over and they genocided the Native Americans, then why would you want to bring in people who are more hostile
as a part
than the Europeans were?
In their own charter, it says that they want to kill every Jew that exists in the world. That you can't get more racist than that. I want to completely wipe out an entire race of people, is what they say in their own charter. And you want to stand with these people in solidarity and still not be viewed as a racist? Nothing can be seen as more racist than that. And the few innocent people that are in Gaza, the ones that don't stand with Hamas, the couple of Christian encampments that have to be completely secret as to what they believe, and the people who don't want their children taught these things in these schools, they're over there, they're taught from the time they can walk and talk to kill Jews, and the world would be a better place if there were none. And this is ridiculous. The conversation is crazy.
Well, I will acknowledge that there are the Gaza folk, they're in a bad spot. That's for sure. The aid that's getting sent over there, one of the Palestinian politicians came out the other day and said that, Hamas takes the aid first.
People confuse being humanitarian. They let it take over their entire. Yeah, listen, I feel for every innocent child that dies because people have to kill each other and the kids are caught in the middle. Every damn one. I don't care what nationality they are. They're all God's children. Plain and simple. But in order to take the logic leaps that have been taken to call Israel an occupier or a colonialist, you have to be okay with the weapons of war the Palestinians and Hamas chose to employ on October the 7th, which is killing innocent men, women, and children and using the rest of them as human shields as Israel entered the Gaza Strip. They're hiding underneath hospitals, in schools, in regular neighborhoods, fighting guerrilla warfare, not letting their innocent, the ones who wanted to leave, were kept from leaving. And the other countries that surround them, UAE, Jordan, Egypt, and others, you know why they weren't taking in Hamas? Because the Palestinian people, because when they took them into those countries, they tried to overthrow those countries. They tried to assassinate their leaders, and they were thrown out. That's why. So even Egypt and Jordan and Saudi Arabia and these other countries don't like Palestine for that reason, because they tried to overthrow their countries and set up these factions in their countries to assassinate leaders and cause problems. Otherwise, why would they need to fly them from Palestine, Gaza to here? Why would Joe have to do that in the dead of night and not tell anyone and make it a big secret? Why don't they just walk right into Syria or Lebanon or Turkey or Qatar or any of these other countries or Jordan? Because they won't let them.
I will acknowledge that Luna actually does go there. So she basically raises money for aid to take supplies down there. So she does go to Palestine, which is noble. If you want to save the women and children that are caught in the middle of this war, then and bring them aid. Yes, do it.
Agrees with that. Everybody agrees with that.
That is a noble goal, because of course, not every single one of them is a terrorist. But no. I say that the vast, if we started bringing in Gazans indiscriminately over here, or just letting them in or flying them over indiscriminately, Hamas would take advantage of that, and they would plant seeds in this country that would cause terror. They would do terrorist acts. So
every other country they went into, not just Hamas, Palestinians went into Jordan. Palestinians tried to assassinate the Jordanian leadership, as well as in Egypt. These were not just factions of Hamas. I don't want to blame everything happening in Palestine or in Gaza on Hamas alone. There are innocent people, but still they were supported by and large the people that were there. That girl that was drugged through the streets and spit on, those were people that were Palestinians, not Hamas. The people that were cheering on the news after the towers fell on September the 11th and chanting death to America, those are Palestinians. So if we can identify and we have a way of identifying the people that don't buy into that ideology, should we help them? Absolutely. With everything we have, we should stand in the way of whoever's trying to harm them. We should help them, especially the young children. But what's the long-term goal? Because if we're just indiscriminately sending hundreds of $millions into Gaza, who do you think is going to get that money? It's just going to go to the war effort, more to the propaganda artists that are there. It's not going to go to the innocent civilians and the people who need it. It's going to go to the terrorist people that are there that caused this whole thing to happen on October the 7th.
And it's, I mean, this is one of the subjects where I generally don't talk about this much because it always gets messy like this. It's like, yeah, I understand, like, people like Luna, like her mission to help the innocent women and children. Like, I get that. That makes sense. But like,
it would make more sense to me if it was on both sides of the border, though.
But yeah, you cannot just indiscriminately take people in from Gaza. That will lead to terrorist attacks here in America, because Hamas Hamas will take advantage of that and send people over that are ideologically possessed to the point where they hate anything America, and they will do harm here. So you kind of have to think about your own people as well as other people. I mean, okay, think about it this way. Let me give you an example of where my concerns lie. All right. So since the start of the war between Palestine and Israel, since October 7th, the Palestinians had said that 32,000 Palestinians have been killed. Well, that's the what?
It was 34.
34. Okay. Yeah. So 34,000 have been killed, right? Because of the open border we have on our southern border, the cartels, China, they're bringing in fentanyl that kills over 100,000 Americans per year.
Yeah.
So if there's been 34,000 deaths in 6 months
and countless lives ruined, regardless
eight,
of whether
9 months, there's more Americans dying on the street today, or there will be more Americans that die this year than in the entirety of the war over there that's been going on. That's just this year. And yeah, some of it self-induced, but you can say the same thing about the Palestinians. Not all of them, but
they could have just came to the table,
yeah,
and negotiated with Israel and had a peace long time ago. 7 times they said, we're going to offer you statehood. And the answer all 7 times is, we will not negotiate with Jews. We won't negotiate with them. We won't come to the table. We won't have any peace talks. There will never be peace as long as the Jews occupy that land. That's absolutely crazy to me.
Oh my gosh. I know that okay. I was talking about the statement that they gave saying how many people were killed. And if you don't think that 100,000 American deaths every single year from the open border alone is a problem, then I don't know what to tell you. If you want to look at the reservation, look at the drug problems on the reservations right now. My brother is in and out of jail because he's addicted to drugs. I haven't spoke to him in over 10 years. I lost 2 uncles to opioids because one of them was trying to steal copper from a freaking power line and electrocuted himself to death, and the other one overdosed. My father, my biological father, did not raise me because he was too interested in drugs. Yeah. We have a serious problem, and it affects us greatly.
Yep. And I'm
over 100, and that doesn't even include the 100,000 deaths just from overdosing each year. Doesn't include all of the families that are torn apart by the people who are going to die next year or the next year, because